Hey, I'm Chief Bernadette DePino with the Sarasota Police Department. Thank you all for being here today. Today we're going to brief you on some stolen property burglary cases that our Criminal Investigation Division worked on. Back in February and through mid-March, we experienced a series of burglaries. Were taken from businesses with various tools and equipment. And I'm really proud of our Criminal Investigation Division. The one thing we do in law enforcement is we try to prevent crime if we possibly can, but if we can't prevent the crime, we work in cooperation with our community, and we were able to use investigative skills, and our detectives worked really hard to identify where property was taken from victims within our community, and we've been able to reunite victims with a large number of pieces of equipment that they utilize for their work, which makes us feel really good to be able to help people, because if you know anything about burglaries, it's one of the hardest crimes for us to be able to apprehend suspects or identify who has taken it and to allow victims to get their property back. I'm going to introduce to you two of the investigators, Acting Captain Scott Mayforth, and he's going to introduce the sergeant that's going to give you some specifics about this case. But again, I'm really happy to be able to report to you that we were able to recover a large amount of property belonging to businesses and individuals who are working hard in our community. And we're going to continue to work hard to try to identify other victims in this case and recover their property and return it to them. So Scott Mayforth, if you would like to come on up.
Good morning. My name is Lieutenant Scott Mayforth, and I'm currently assigned as the Acting Captain of our Criminal Investigations Division. And I'm going to read from you a statement that we prepared, kind of give you a summary of what took place during this operation and why. Between late February and mid-March of this year, there was an increase in business burglaries in a concentrated area in the central district of the city. All burglary victims reported missing high-value tools, and in most cases, forced entry was used to gain access to the items that were stolen. Southwest Concrete and Masonry, located at 921 North Lime, fell victim to 4 burglaries during this few-week period. This, along with other victim businesses in the area, prompted members of the Criminal Investigations Division to plan a covert operation and attempt to locate the suspects. Within 1 week, the operation yielded information. Detectives identified a residential location where stolen items were believed to be stored and a suspect, Hispanic male, Lazaro Rodriguez, date of birth 4/1/60. On March 19th, 2018, at approximately 1:30 in the morning, detectives followed Rodriguez, who at the time was known to be in possession of stolen property, to a storage unit located at 2255 North Washington Boulevard, where he was placed under arrest and charged with dealing in stolen property. Search warrants were obtained and executed on his storage unit, his residence, and his vehicle. During the search of his vehicle, detectives located numerous pieces of crack cocaine and a large amount of U.S. currency. The search of his storage unit and residence led to the recovery of approximately 300 articles consisting of items such as high-end power tools, generators, pressure washers, lawnmowers, including a Cub Cadet zero-turn riding mower valued approximately $4,000, bicycles, concrete saws, and air compressors. The total value of the recovered items is estimated to be more than $100,000. Since recovering the items, detectives have linked 9 different reported burglaries cases in the city, 1 case out of Largo, and 1 case out of the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, where recovered items from the storage unit matched up with items reported stolen in those cases. 69 items in total have been returned to 11 identified victims. Subsequent investigation yielded additional charges on Rodriguez, and on April 13th of this year, he was arrested again, this time for organized dealing in stolen property and possession of a controlled substance with intent to sell. He is currently in the Sarasota County Jail with a $45,000 bond. Also wanted in relation to this case is Hispanic male Ricardo Ruiz, date of birth of 10/25/1986. He has active warrants for burglary and grand theft at this time. If you believe you are a victim, this goes out to anybody who may be watching. If you believe you are a victim in which high-value tools were stolen and we may have recovered your property, we encourage you to contact Detective Luis Paris at 941-363-5830. And we have here a picture of Ricardo Ruiz. This is the subject of the warrants are actively in the system. If anybody has information, please let us know so we can pick him up. Okay, I'll now turn the stand over to Sergeant Derek Galbraith. Derek was a sergeant who coordinated a lot of this operation and has the most intricate knowledge, and he'll answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Good morning. Sergeant Derek Galbraith, D-E-R-E-K, G-A-L-B-R-A-I-T-H. I'm a sergeant with the Criminal Investigations Division. So if you guys have any questions in relation to this case, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
What do we know about the subject? Where are they from? Are they documented, undocumented?
As far as I know, the suspect that's in custody right now, Lazaro, is of Mexican descent. And as far as his documentation, I'm not sure his status currently.
When the officer-involved shooting happened with the man on the bicycle, he had been arrested and was being looked at some burglaries in the area. Is he connected to these guys? Are these guys charged with those business burglaries?
The subject you mentioned was not in relation to any part of this investigation as far as his involvement. That area is an area in the city that we were having those burglaries. So as far as his involvement specific to this arrest or this case, we're not able to tie that in at this time.
What businesses were burglarized that you have been able to link this equipment to?
The one that Lieutenant mentioned, the one at 921 North Lime, that business was hit 4 times, and there were several others in that immediate area. I don't know their exact names of those businesses at this time. We could provide that for you.
It'll be in the PCAs I sent you out to us.
Okay.
Maybe you mentioned this, but what led you to these guys into this location?
During the operation, several of the assigned detectives had come up with the idea to conduct some surveillance, and it was just kind of a tactic that we employed. And through that surveillance, we developed them as suspects.
Are they suspects in any prior burglaries beyond these, you think?
Not at this time. There are several cases that we're still actively working, and we're still reviewing video, so it's not to say that they for sure aren't, but we're still working on it to develop.
And the folks that had these things stolen from, what could they have done differently to protect their personal items?
Well, the one business that I referred to at 921, that's a fenced-in area. So their equipment was fenced in. Oftentimes in some of these burglaries, they were locked trailers or locked like storage containers on the property. And force was used in a great deal of the burglaries that were committed in that area. So when it'd be cutting locks off, getting through the fence. So they weren't just tools that were outright laying there, which we'd encourage any business or anybody at any time to keep those things locked up. And these people did take those precautions to do that. However, the suspects had the means to.
The one thing I do want to add is, again, that these individuals did everything they could to prevent themselves from becoming victims of crimes. That's what the sergeant is telling you. But one thing we do suggest for people that own businesses and at their own homes is, one, write the serial numbers down of all of the items that you own. Take a photograph of those items, keep those stored separately, and print out that photograph and write the serial number and keep it in a safe place so in case one of your items is stolen. Those are 2 things that you can do. Make sure you lock your car doors, make sure you lock your businesses, and these businesses all did that. They made every security precaution available. The individuals involved in this were good at breaking into places.
Can you talk about how did they do this? Did they case the places overnight? Did they come in overnight? What did they do?
A large portion of these were committed at night. As far as their activity, we have some video that was able to show that they were there at night. As far as casing them or the procedures they took prior to, it's nothing I could speak to at this time.
Do these men have residences here in Sarasota, or are they believed to be homeless?
No, they both have residences. And I'm referring to Lazaro and as well as Ruiz, who is currently still wanted.
If you saw the storage locker where they were storing all of this equipment, this was an enterprise. This was an operation that they were working, and when our detectives were able to open up the storage locker, it was filled from top to bottom. And it took our investigators a long time to be able to categorize these items and then try to identify who it belongs to. And we still have some outstanding items, so if you've been a victim of a burglary, please contact our detective, Detective Paris, or the Sarasota Police Department so we can reunite you with your equipment. That's why it's important to, again, keep your serial numbers, keep a photograph of your items, even a receipt when you purchase those items. that would help us be able to identify who these pieces of equipment belong to. I'm really proud of our Criminal Investigation Division on all the hard work that they put towards this case and are still putting towards this case. And we're committed to working with our partners, our business partners, and our community partners to prevent this from happening. And we appreciate the media being able to advertise so we can find this individual. Again, he's wanted, still wanted. Please contact us if you know his whereabouts so we can bring him to justice for the victims in this case. And again, if you also notice that there was also drugs involved in this too. So we always find there's a close nexus between drug activity and burglaries, and so it doesn't really surprise us that there was drugs and money found in this case. So thank you all so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Again, I'm proud of the efforts of our investigators and appreciate you guys sharing this information. That concludes the briefing. Thank you very much.